Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to give another minute or two to let participants join before I get started. Welcome. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dawn Bond. I am the Director of Operational Services. I am going to do a little bit of an overview just to present some information about important dates and how check-in works on our assisted move-in days, and then we'll open it up for questions. Here we go. Some important dates. Students will find out their housing assignment on Monday, August 3rd. That will also be the day that you will find out what day you're being moved in. We move first year students and transfer students in over day 1 and day 2. About a week later, students will make a move-in reservation on the housing portal and they will pick from the times that are available. Friday, August 28th and Monday, August 31st are days that we're transitioning students from summer housing into their fall assignment. Not a lot of students are first year and transfer students in this category, but we can certainly take questions later if there are. The move-in days this year are Wednesday, September 2nd, September 3rd, and September 4th, Thursday and Friday. So we will move new students in on Wednesday, September 2nd and Thursday, September 3rd. I'm not gonna try to scroll too fast here because I don't want it to feel a little Blair Witch Project, but um, there's 3 types of moving in. There is the minute movers who assist. Those are our students who come back early and help families unload and move in. We use a professional moving company for our Southwest Towers, Honors College, all residence halls in Honors College, and all residence halls in Sylvan residential area. And then there's the unassisted move-in that this family represents, where they've signed out a bid and they're moving themselves in. We're primarily going to talk today in my short presentation about assisted move-in days and process. There will be a boarding pass that your student is asked to print and bring to campus. We use that as part of the electronic check-in in the 2 locations. There is a helpful checklist on this as well. There's also a really helpful what to bring checklist on our website, and one of the staff on behind the scenes has already put the link to our website in the chat. I'll come back to emphasize a few what to bring items after we've talked about how move-in works. First and foremost, we unload 1 car. So we have a 1 car rule. So it's super important as you're planning your trip. If you are bringing 2 cars, and there's plenty of reasons to bring a second car, and that's okay to do, we just don't unload a second car. And so the majority of the belongings should be in the primary car with the student, and that will be the car that will be allowed to the unload zone for the hall. And that's the car that we will help you unload and move in. If you bring 2 cars, don't be this family. Dad looks so frustrated here. He's like, oh, why didn't someone tell me about the 1 car rule? So what they're trying to do right here is move some things into the primary car with the Thule on top. And there is a place to pull off at each check-in location to do this. This is happening behind the football stadium where we do West check-in. If you do put some items in the second car, be this family. They're carrying light things from the parking lot, the adjacent parking lot. So let's talk a little bit about how the check-in process looks on the day. So on the east side of campus, we check in. There's a map that's going to load here. We check students in for Northeast, North Apartments, Sylvan, Orchard Hill, and Central residential communities all go to East check-in to get checked in, and their student receives the key. So this is the College of Education right here. North Apartments and Sylvan residential area are adjacent to this big parking lot, and you will access from North Pleasant the North Residential Drive and come in. We split the lane here, and then we have 2 lanes of incoming cars. On the east side of campus, the first thing that happens as you make your way through the queue is to get checked in. Your student will receive their key at this point, and this is also where we will placard the car windshield so that folks know that there's allowed entry to the unload zone. If a second car is also coming to campus, have the second car follow the primary car through the check-in process, because we also placard that car, and they will go to the designated parking area for your student's residence hall. The second thing that happens on the east side is that our wonderful dining partners are out here with us all 3 days, and you'll get a snack bag for your car. And then the last thing that happens on the east side is what we call car call up. And this is where we hold cars until there's a spot at the unload zone. It doesn't make any sense to log jam your own unload zone. And so we hold cars here until there's a spot available to get unloaded. Once the car is called off of this line, the website that we've placed in the chat has directions for each residence hall, how to navigate the campus from the check-in location to the residence hall. It also has directions for the second car to follow so that they can get to the correct parking lot that we've designated for that residence hall. And depending on the day, you may either leave out between North and Sylvan, or there's a day or two where we leave out of North Thatcher Street. And so again, it's important that the drivers of the vehicles have done a little bit of orientation to what it's going to be like on campus. There are certainly road signs down, but I have found over the last 15 years that we could put enough signs down to really make it that easy. And so having a lay of the land before you head out is really recommended. And then on the west side of campus, let me talk about this real quick. On the east side of campus, for each check-in, North, Northeast, and Sylvan residential areas, we've already taken the big parking lot offline to do check-in in it. And so the parking for the second cars and the cars that have been unloaded is a little bit further away than we would like for people to have to walk. It's certainly walkable, but we do run a shuttle for the east check-in that takes families back and forth from lots 68 and 31 for families that have moved into, again, North, Northeast, or Sylvan. So that runs continuously all 3 days during check-in. And now we'll head over to West check-in. West check-in's a little bit more intuitive, I would say, because I think folks know where the football stadium is on our campus. So you're going to come in off of 116, the highway, and come onto Stadium Drive. On this side of campus, you'll interact with dining first, and that's where you'll get the snack bag. Then you'll come around to the behind the football stadium is where your student will get their key, and the cars will be placarded, or the car will be placarded. And then lastly, as described on the east side of campus, there's a car call up, and we only pull cars off if there's a spot in the unload zone. All traffic going to be unloaded leaves out in the same direction, and the West check-in is designated for all Southwest residential halls and Honors College. I said I would come back to this, so sorry if I'm going a little zoomy here, but I wanted to talk about a couple of important items that you may want to consider. Most of our residence halls are not air conditioned, and so it's super important to bring a fan. And I'm going to say one for the window to keep cool air coming in, especially at night. September can be hot, even early October, and then a smaller fan for interior to the room that perhaps oscillates so that it can move the air around. What we have learned is by the time we move our students in late August, early September, most of the retail locations in our area have transitioned seasonally, and there are usually not a lot of fans available in the area. In fact, there's usually Halloween decorations up in most of those locations. So please remember to bring a fan. And then the second thing that I want to remind folks about is medication. Uh, we will talk a little bit about package delivery later, but you certainly can send things to your student. The first week or two of after move-in is quite busy at the residential service desks, and so if your student has an important medication, please send them with at least a 30-day supply, and consider moving your prescription to either the local CVS in downtown Amherst or University Health Services also has a pharmacy. So let's take some questions. Does anyone have a question that hasn't already been answered? Or is there a question from the staff team that was common and has been answered a couple of times?
We currently don't have any questions in the Q&A queue.
No Q&A questions. Were that good? Let's see. We've put some links in. Actually, I think if you, Sarah, can you repost the website link into the chat? Because I think if you join the webinar after we've put something in the chat, they don't see things that were there previously. So we'll repost the website into the chat now. And we've got a question, the move-in timeline and dates, and what is it different if you've joined a wrap? I'm going to take that question. So students who have joined a wrap essentially know the building they're going to be assigned to, unless for any reason at the very end of the assignment process that wrap has to be moved because of ADA reasons, which is very uncommon, very, very highly uncommon. And so for the most part, wrap students do know what building they're going to be moving into. They don't know their roommate necessarily yet, or the room, or the floor, but we do have a schedule that is on our website that tells you what buildings move in on day one, what buildings move in on day two, and then day three is returning students. And so there are no scheduled first year or new student transfers moving in on day three. So the important day, if you haven't joined a wrap, to know where your student's been placed in, they'll be able to look this up on the housing portal, is August 3rd. August 3rd is when students find out their assignment. August 10th through the 13th, I believe. Let me go back. Yeah, August 10th through August 13th is when students make their move-in reservation. Some students will have a wide range of choices throughout the move-in day from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Other students that are being moved in by our professional moving company will see a more limited options. We do move those buildings in by floor. But again, every student makes a move-in reservation, and students will select a time that's available to them at the time they go in to make their move-in reservation. The professional moving company is a little bit different with how we move the students into. So I'm going to describe that. I'll scroll to my pictures. You have a better sense of it. So again, these are the three types of moving in. The first picture is our minute movers are helping those cars that are parked to unload and then what we call containerize the belongings into the moving bins. We'll fill as many moving bins as we need to unload that car, because our goal is to get that car out of our unload zone as quickly as possible so that another car can come up. And so minute movers help unload. The family also helps unload. The only person that won't move towards the building and bring belongings into the building is the driver of the car. As soon as that car is unloaded, the driver will be asked to go park in the location that we've designated for after unload. Again, those directions are on our website. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for the drivers of cars coming to campus during move-in. Do a little bit of recon and understand the traffic patterns patterns for the day. We do change some one ways. We close some streets. So it's important to understand the navigation of the campus before coming. The second picture, the middle picture, is our professional moving company. That is local labor that we've hired to unload the cars. In these cases, the family doesn't help unload. The family doesn't get out of the car. In fact, the professional movers go to the car. They will load up as many of their bins as they need to unload the car entirely, and they will tag those belongings and get them into the room while the family is parking the car and returning to the residence hall location. Again, professional movers are used in all 5 of our towers in Southwest, Honors College, all the buildings in Honors College, and Sylvan residential area, all the buildings in Sylvan. And so that's a little bit of a different experience. And so families will just simply let the car be unloaded. The unassisted move-in is also pictured here, and that's our early arrivals, our after hours move-ins, or if for any reason you're choosing to move your student in over Labor Day weekend, those are options available to students during the move-in reservation period. And if you do choose that time, if your student chooses that time, then you would do what is called an unassisted move-in, sign out a bin, unload your own car, and move in. I think I should also talk a little bit about elevators. Um, a lot of our halls don't have an elevator at all, and so that's easy. Everybody's pushing to the stairwell that we've designated and carrying belongings upstairs. There are also some buildings where only certain floors will use the elevator. It's usually the highest floors in the building, and then we have other families, even with an elevator in the building, who will push to the stairwell that we've designated, and then they will move belongings up the stairs as well. We couldn't move a whole building in most cases if we use the elevator for everyone. And so we've made some decisions about that. And it's, again, usually the lower floors that need to carry upstairs. And in buildings where we're moving the families in and students in, the elevator is essentially offline for passenger usage, unless there's a medical reason. Of course, we would take someone up and would not force someone to walk stairs if there was a reason, a disability or medical reason for that. And so we would just need you to find a staff member in the unload zone and let them know that you'll need some assistance with the elevator. I don't know if that helped a little with shyness. Does anybody who's on the webinar today would like to ask a question, a specific question?
There's a question about labeling your items and if they need to, and if so, what to put on that.
No, you do not need to do that. You absolutely do not need to do that. The chain of custody, when the minute movers are moving your items in, the belongings are with you and your student, unless you're the driver of the car, the whole time. And they're being moved in specifically under your direction and with you. The professional movers will label each of the bins as the belongings are coming out. And very rarely have we put belongings in the wrong room. In fact, I can't remember a year in the last handful of years where we've misplaced a bin. And so they're very good at what they do, and that's why we use them. And so you don't need to individually label things that you're bringing in. Other questions? So the question is, do we sign up for professional movers? No, your building is designated as a building that we use professional movers. It's actually our most challenging buildings to move in. They're either landlocked, or they are 22-story towers, or they are Sylvan residential area where the corridors are a little narrower, and our laundry bins have trouble navigating. So Sylvan residential area, Southwest Towers, and Honors College are moved in by our professional movers. Your student does still make a move-in reservation, regardless of whether you're being moved in by the Minute Mover team or the professional moving team, or you're moving yourself in unassisted. All students make a move-in reservation.
Don, can you talk about the luggage program and how that works for out of state?
What's so weird, Sarah, is I was going to talk about the luggage program next. So we offer a program for our out-of-state and international families to ship items ahead of time. We start taking delivery on that August 1st. Details about that are on the website. And the reason we do that is because we know it helps international and out-of-state families to not have as many bags at the airport potentially. And so you will ship directly to us from your home. It isn't third-party shipping, so you can't order a bunch of stuff from Target and have it sent to us and then we hold it. But if you want to pack a few boxes ahead of time and ship them, we hold them at our distribution site. And the team, parts of our team, then take chain of custody of those packages and get them into the students' rooms in almost all cases. And so we try to be as helpful as possible with that. Things that come late might not make it into the room, but we do make every effort to get those boxes put into the students' room. And the other thing that you may want to consider, because they do take up a lot of room, is the micro fridge relationship. That's another area where if you order ahead, the company delivers them to the student room and they're ready and waiting for the student as they arrive. Those are rentable, and students can also split the cost of those. Those micro fridge units have a microwave, a freezer, and a refrigerator all in one unit. Other questions? So Rachel, I'm answering your question. That's exactly how it works with a professional moving company, is that the family stays in the car, they unload it, the belongings get tagged, they get pushed to the room, and we have a Res Life staff on each floor that we're moving in at that time who use the key to unlock the student's room. We put the belongings in the room and then lock the door behind us, and in almost all cases, by the time the family parks the car and moves back, the belongings are waiting for you in the room, ready to be unpacked. They're pretty great. We've been working with the USS Professional Moving Company for close to a decade.
Don, what if I'm moving in 2 students?
Great question. So we would like for you to work with us using, drop us an email with your students' information, and we will help coordinate you being able to move both of your UMass students in on the same day. Especially if they're also on opposite sides of the campus. We won't make you go through both check-in locations. So if you have that scenario, and it's very common as well, there's twins. We've had triplets come we had to help coordinate that family's move. Each student does get a car. So the one car rule applies per student. So you'll be able to bring belongings for both of them.
Don, there's a follow-up question in the chat about the micro fridge.
Yeah.
Asking, how soon should they sign up for it?
Mhm.
And asking us to put in a link to the micro fridge rental, which I'll try, although links have not been showing up as links for folks.
Okay. Okay. What was the first question, Sarah? I'm sorry.
Sure. So how soon? So
Okay,
typically
that's
it's
okay.
not before August
Yeah, I
to be
think actually
guaranteed.
they're taking orders now. They're taking orders now. And for students that don't know their room assignment, they check with us on that. And so don't worry about that. So if you do want to reserve a micro fridge unit, I believe you can do that now. And then if you find out on assignment release day that both roommates have ordered a micro fridge unit to be delivered, one of them can be canceled and then the cost can be split. Most buildings do have a refrigerator and a microwave in a small kitchen in each of those buildings. How they get managed is different from building to building, and I wouldn't want to leave anything too important in the community's refrigerator or freezer, but there certainly is a microwave in each of them as well. Somebody asked about going to the store and coming back, and so I want to talk about that a little bit. certainly you're able to do that once your student's been moved in. What is important to note so that we don't have any mixed messaging is that once you have been unloaded, it's a one and done. The car gets unloaded and then parked in the parking lot that's adjacent, or on the east side, you may take the shuttle. And if you do end up going out to grab some items or a forgotten item, you will park back in the parking lot that we designated for that building for the day. You won't be able to circle back and get real close to the building because we're moving in families, students all day long from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. After 6 p.m., there is more access to the closer to the residence hall because we've concluded move-in for that day. I'm just looking at the questions now. Let's see if there's anything I can say for everybody's benefit. Okay.
Don,
Any
what
other?
if someone's
Yeah,
running late or arrives early?
yeah. So the magic of our move-in program is truly the half-hour arrival times all day, each day. We know that some things can happen. You could be delayed 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Maybe there was a car problem. There was some traffic that you hadn't predicted for that suddenly happens. We want you to just come, just keep coming in. And if you're a little earlier and if you're a little late, we're still going to check your student in. We're still going to get you unloaded. The one thing that we can't accommodate though is just coming on an entirely different day. If we're not moving that building in, then we're not going to be able to do the check-in, and we're also not going to be able to unload. And so try to come as close as you can to that half-hour move-in reservation time. And we understand if things are running a little earlier, if things are running a little late. In the professional moving buildings, especially the towers, they may have moved on to a different floor. So there may be a little delay in the belongings getting into the room because we move the key holders to the floors that we're moving in at that time. And so just keep that in mind as well, especially if it's a significant lateness, like if you're more than an hour late, then there may be a little longer wait time for the belongings to get put in the room because we'll have to move a key holder to unlock the door. Let's see if there's anything else I could talk about in the presentation real quick before we end. It's 12:30, so we just have a little more time together today. We've talked about some items to bring. There's a great list on the website. These vacuum seal bags, these vacuum bags are priceless, and so strongly consider that as you're bringing things, and then certainly at May move out. Things that are in their original packaging are usually tighter, but when May move out happens, it's really helpful to have those. We do know that many people will purchase a mattress topper and use it in the room. Our mattresses are not by any stretch of the imagination uncomfortable, but we do know that many people just enjoy having that little extra cushion, the foam toppers. This is what pretty much every residence hall looks like at May move out. And what we have learned is there is really no source for getting these out of the trash stream. And so these mattress toppers can also be put in the vacuum seal bags and can be made to be really small. And so we hope that if you do buy a mattress topper, that your student will use it for all the years they're here and not just dispose of it outside the residence hall like this. And they can be put into vacuum bags. We talked about the one car rule, the shuttle. Oh, let me talk about the shuttle. So if for any reason your student's coming by Uber or Peter Pan bus or flying in and getting transportation from the airport that is not you in your car, or they're not renting a car, then we want to take them the last mile. And so all 3 days from the Brummery Center for the Arts, we have staff volunteer to run our check-in shuttle. And this is where we pick up students in their luggage and take them through the check-in process and take them right to their hall to get unloaded, just like any other student. They'll get help moving in. And so definitely use this resource if for any reason your student's coming by bus or airplane or Uber or Lyft. We will take them the last mile. We also pick up from the Hotel UMass, and that is a pickup at Flint Circle, which is closer to the hotel. We don't want a student to have to come all the way across campus to the Brummery Center for the Arts. And so there'll be a frame there with a phone number to call, and then the shuttle will go pick them or you up at the hotel and take you all through the check-in process.
Don, there's a question about out-of-state students and storing items. Is there a place on campus to do that during the breaks or during summer?
Yep.
Should they use dorm room movers?
Yeah, we do have a relationship with a vendor, Dorm Room Movers. That's where your student packs the boxes. They come pick them up. They store them over the summer and then deliver them at the next academic year's fall move-in. There are also local storage units in the area where you would do all of that yourself, and your student would put them in the storage unit, and they'd be there over the summer. Students do not need to take all of their belongings home over the winter break unless they're changing their housing assignment from fall to spring. The assignment is for the full academic year. So where your student finds out they're assigned on August 3rd is where they'll live throughout both semesters, unless they make the choice to change their housing assignment between semesters. And students who choose to change their assignment between semesters do have to completely check out at the end of fall semester. And so that would also require storage if they weren't able to take everything home. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about setting up the room as well. We sometimes get questions about this. When you arrive, the room is, in our opinion, ready. But if there is anything that seems not working properly or not right, we would like to have you report that through our maintenance service request. If it's something of an urgent nature, I'll talk about that in a moment. We're going to have you call that in. We want you to call us immediately so we can address it immediately. There are also going to be students who want to loft or bunk their beds, and so those materials can be found in the residence hall. A list by residence hall of where those materials are is on the website. Super important if you are rearranging the room, and remind your student in general anyhow, every single residence hall on our campus in every room in that residence hall has a fire suppressant sprinkler system installed. These sprinkler heads are very, very sensitive because we want them to be. We want them to detect heat, and we want them to go off if there's an actual fire. We want you to look up and around and locate the sprinkler head in your student's room if you are planning to dismantle the beds and rearrange the room, because I would hate for that sprinkler head to be just tapped, and because it will activate and it will fill the room with water, and everything will be soaked and likely ruined. And then also that water will run down the hall and get into a lot of other people's rooms. And so also remind your student once they've moved in to be very thoughtful and careful around that sprinkler head. A little Nerf basketball can set a sprinkler head into motion, because that's happened before. And so we don't want that to happen to your student. If there is an emergency maintenance situation, we would like that called in. And so every student should put in their phone the emergency 24/7, 365 days a year. Facility Service Center phone number 413-545-6401. After your student's been moved in, I think it's also helpful to explore the whole residence hall and identify where the hydration station or stations are, so that your student can keep filling up their refillable water bottle, where the laundry room is, the kitchen, rec space. We do still deliver letter mail into mailboxes. There are banks of mailboxes with combination locks on each of them in every residence hall except Honors College. Honors College's mailboxes are all co-located in the building where the service desk is located, and there's also Roots Cafe right there. And every student has a residential service desk that's there to support them. The things that our residential service desks do to support students that live in the residence halls include helping them open their mailbox. Mailbox combinations can be a little tricky. There are video tutorials on our website, but if for any reason your student's struggling with getting that mailbox open, we can help. And it does take a couple of tries before you have it down. This is where your student would go to get a backup key if they've locked themselves out of their room or potentially lost their key. We also can issue temp cards to replace the U card to enter the main entrance of the building. If they have lost their U card and they know for sure that it may be lost, they should also cancel that U card online so that someone else can't use it. And then the most important reason why most students go to their service desk, their residential service desk, there are 8 of them across campus, is to pick up packages. And your student will receive an email if we have processed a package on their behalf, and we will deliver that to them as they come to the window. This year, for this summer, we're having them installed. There will be 6 banks of Amazon lockers in our residential areas, different residential areas, and students will be able to select Amazon as an option to deliver to the mailboxes. Amazon doesn't have a vendor relationship with us, not because we didn't want one. So they were previously unable to deliver to, they cannot deliver to the residential service desks, but because they have installed the lockers in 6 different locations, your student or you can select that locker location to have the package delivered there. And then in closing, oh, this is what it does look like the first couple of weeks. This is a real service desk with real packages. We get inundated. And so if it's possible, please try to avoid shipping during that time. We've already talked a little bit about the medications as it's referenced here. Textbooks can be shipped to eCampus and then picked up in the campus center. This is our phone number and email address. And so if there's something that we weren't able to answer for you today or is very specific to your situation or experience, please email us. We have wonderful staff who are answering the phones and answering emails Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. This webinar is also being recorded, and Sarah will get it posted on our website. And every single thing that I've talked about today is on our website. And if you're comfortable navigating that website, you'll find lots and lots of resources for you as you think about transitioning to campus. Are there any final questions?
Don, there's one. What time do we have to go on move-in? Not sure if that means to go on to make a move-in reservation, maybe?
Okay, so I'll answer that again. Starting on Monday, August 10th, not every residence hall will start at the same time that day. The first couple of years of what we started using move-in reservation, having, almost 14,000 students try to go in and make a move-in reservation at 9 a.m. Crashed the housing portal. And so throughout the day, on that first day, buildings will ramp on at hourly intervals. And that schedule for when your student's building is open to make a move-in reservation is also already posted on our website. And so if that was the question, then that's the answer. But if it is about moving in, when do you come for move in, you should attempt to arrive to our campus within that 30-minute window that your student will make as a move-in reservation, unless, of course, coming as unassisted move-in, it's an hour-long window. And if that was neither of those 2 questions, you can ask it again, and I'd be happy to take a swing at it. Any final questions?
Someone's just seeking clarification that the date that you move in is dictated by your residence hall, right?
Correct. There are some residence halls that we move in both days because they're just large buildings. And so your student may see appointment times for two different days, day one or day two. But again, the schedule for what day we're moving in what buildings is on the website. It's already determined. We're not going to be making changes. And so if your student's in a RAP, they already know where they're going to be living. So you can check that out. If they're not assigned to a RAP, then they will find out their residence hall assignment on August 3rd. And then that's when you'll know what day you're moving in. Okay, well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. There are 8 awesome staff on the operational services team that were answering your questions behind the scenes or fielding questions to me. So I want to thank them for that. Please reach out to us if you think of something later or if something was very specific to you and you would like to ask it directly to a staff member. Please use our email or call us and we will work through that with you. And it has been my pleasure presenting to you today. So thank you for joining our webinar and have a great rest of your summer. And we look forward to welcoming you in early September. Bye now.